Leadership is not destroyed overnight. It is destroyed daily, by habits, small decisions, repeated mistakes, toxic patterns ignored for too long. Some leaders lose trust. Some lose opportunities. Some lose the people who once believed in them. Not because they lack talent, but because they refuse to change. Today, we expose the 7 habits that silently destroy leadership. This is Momentum Leadership, where discipline creates strength, vision creates direction, and leaders are built through growth. Leadership is powerful. It shapes families. It shapes schools. It shapes businesses, teams, communities, and nations. A strong leader can inspire people to grow, succeed, and overcome. But a weak leader can create confusion, division, fear, and failure. The truth is, leadership is rarely destroyed by one major mistake. It is usually destroyed by habits. Small habits that slowly become destructive patterns. Patterns that damage trust, damage character, damage relationships, and eventually destroy influence. Many leaders never fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they ignore the behaviors, quietly weakening them every day. And if we are honest, every person watching this video will recognize at least one of these habits in themselves. Because leadership is not just about leading others. It is also about leading yourself. The question is not whether these habits exist. The question is whether you are willing to change them. Today, we expose the 7 habits that destroy leadership before they destroy your future. Habit number 1, lack of discipline. Discipline is the foundation of leadership. Without it, leadership becomes unstable, unpredictable, weak. Undisciplined leaders create environments filled with confusion and inconsistency. One day they are focused, the next day they are distracted. One day they demand excellence, the next day they tolerate mediocrity. And over time people stop trusting their leadership, because leadership is not only about what you say, it is about what you repeatedly do. A leader who constantly arrives late teaches people that time is not important. A leader who lacks preparation creates frustration within the team. A leader with poor work ethic slowly destroys motivation in the people around them. And a leader who cannot control their emotions creates fear, tension, and instability. Discipline affects everything. The way you speak, the way you prepare, the way you respond under pressure, the way you manage your responsibilities when nobody is watching. Some people want the rewards of leadership without accepting the responsibility that leadership requires. But leadership without discipline eventually collapses, because success cannot survive on motivation alone. Motivation changes, feelings change, circumstances change. Discipline is what keeps leaders moving forward when emotions fade. This is why former Navy SEAL officer and leadership author Jocko Willink often teaches that discipline creates freedom. At first, discipline feels difficult. Waking up early, preparing properly, training consistently, managing emotions, staying committed. But over time, discipline creates stability. It creates confidence. It creates structure. It creates trust. And trust is one of the most valuable currencies in leadership. People need to know they can depend on you, not only when things are easy, but especially when things become difficult. An undisciplined leader becomes emotionally impulsive. They react before thinking. They speak out of anger. They make careless decisions under pressure. And in moments of frustration, they damage relationships that took years to build. Strong leaders understand that emotional control is also discipline. Remaining calm during pressure is discipline. Remaining focused during distraction is discipline. Remaining committed during difficulty is discipline. And here is the reality many people avoid. Your team will rarely rise above your standards. If the leader is lazy, the team becomes lazy. If the leader lacks preparation, the team becomes unprepared. If the leader lacks focus, the team loses direction. Leadership always reproduces itself. This is why disciplined leaders inspire confidence. People trust leaders who are consistent. Leaders who prepare, leaders who show up, leaders who remain dependable regardless of circumstances. Discipline may not always be exciting, but it is necessary, because leadership is not built through occasional greatness. It is built through daily habits repeated over time. And the leaders who master discipline often master themselves. Habit number 2. Poor communication. Confused leaders create confused teams. Communication is one of the most powerful responsibilities of leadership, because every instruction, every conversation, every tone of voice has the power to either build clarity or create chaos. A leader may have vision, a leader may have talent, a leader may even have experience. But if they cannot communicate effectively, people eventually lose direction. One of the biggest communication failures in leadership is not listening. Some leaders speak constantly, but rarely understand the people around them. They interrupt, they dismiss concerns, they assume they already know everything. And over time, people stop expressing ideas. They stop asking questions. They stop sharing concerns. They stop feeling valued, because people want to feel heard, not ignored. Strong communication is not built only through speaking. It is built through understanding. This is one reason Nelson Mandela became respected around the world. Before speaking, he listened. He understood that leadership is not about dominating conversations. It is about connecting with people. Poor communication also appears through unclear instructions. Some leaders expect excellence, but never clearly explain expectations. They give confusing directions, last-minute changes, mixed signals, and then become frustrated when the team struggles. But unclear leadership creates uncertain teams. People perform better when expectations are clear. A strong leader communicates direction with confidence, clarity, and purpose. Another dangerous habit is avoiding difficult conversations. Some leaders remain silent because they fear conflict. Instead of correcting problems early, they ignore them until frustration explodes. Instead of addressing tension, they allow negativity to grow quietly inside the team. But leadership requires courage. Difficult conversations may feel uncomfortable, but avoiding them often creates bigger problems later. Poor communication can also come through arrogance. Some leaders speak down to people. They embarrass others publicly. They use authority to intimidate rather than inspire. And eventually, fear replaces respect. People may obey arrogant leaders temporarily, but they rarely trust them deeply. Tone also matters in leadership. A leader who constantly speaks with anger, frustration, sarcasm, or disrespect creates emotional tension within the environment. People begin working in fear instead of confidence, and fear slowly destroys creativity, motivation, and trust. Communication is not just speaking, it is making people feel understood. Great leaders know how to bring calm during pressure, direction during confusion, and confidence during uncertainty. Their words create clarity. Their listening creates trust. Their tone creates stability, because leadership is not only seen through actions, it is also heard through communication. And leaders who communicate poorly often create environments filled with misunderstanding, frustration, and division. But leaders who communicate wisely create teams that are stronger, healthier, and more united. Because clear communication does more than transfer information. It builds trust, it builds connection, and it builds leadership. Habit number 3, ego and pride. Few things destroy leadership faster than an uncontrolled ego, because ego blinds leaders from growth. It convinces them they are always right. It convinces them they no longer need advice. It convinces them they are more important than the people they lead. And over time, that mindset slowly begins to damage everything around them. One of the greatest dangers of ego is refusing correction. Every leader makes mistakes. Every leader has weaknesses. Every leader has blind spots. But pride prevents people from seeing what needs to be improved. Some leaders become defensive whenever they are challenged. Instead of listening, they argue. Instead of reflecting, they justify. Instead of learning, they protect their image. But leadership is not about appearing perfect. It is about becoming better. A leader who cannot accept correction eventually stops growing. Another sign of ego is the constant need for credit. Some leaders want recognition for every success. Every achievement must include their name. Every victory must highlight their contribution. Every accomplishment becomes an opportunity for self-promotion. But great leaders understand that leadership is not about receiving applause. It is about helping others succeed. Strong leaders share credit. Weak leaders demand it. Pride also appears when leaders begin looking down on others. They start believing their position makes them superior. They dismiss ideas from people they consider less experienced. They underestimate team members. They ignore valuable perspectives, and in doing so, they miss opportunities to learn. Wisdom can come from anyone. Sometimes the newest employee sees a problem nobody else notices. Sometimes the quietest person in the room has the best idea. But pride closes the ears of a leader, and a leader who stops listening eventually loses connection with reality. This is one reason leadership requires humility. Humility does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means being willing to learn from others. It means recognizing that no one knows everything. Even some of the world's most successful leaders learned this lesson. Steve Jobs was known for his extraordinary vision and innovation, but early in his career, he often struggled with leadership because of arrogance and difficult relationships. Over time, he developed greater maturity and became a more effective leader. His journey reminds us that talent alone is not enough. Character matters too. Another danger of ego is becoming obsessed with power. Some leaders become so focused on control that they stop empowering others. They fear losing influence, they fear being challenged, they fear sharing authority. But leadership is not about controlling people. It is about developing people. The strongest leaders create more leaders. The weakest leaders create dependence. And here is the truth every leader must remember. The moment a leader believes they know everything, growth stops. Growth begins where pride ends. Growth begins when leaders ask questions. Growth begins when leaders seek feedback. Growth begins when leaders remain teachable, because leadership is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey of learning, improving, and evolving. And the leaders who remain humble enough to learn are often the leaders who grow the furthest. Habit number 4. Fear of decision-making. Leadership requires movement. Indecision creates paralysis. Some opportunities are not lost because leaders make the wrong decision. They are lost because leaders make no decision at all. Fear freezes people. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of making the wrong choice. And instead of moving forward, leaders become trapped in hesitation. They delay action. They postpone important conversations. They avoid difficult choices. And while they wait, momentum disappears. One of the biggest leadership mistakes is overthinking. Some leaders analyze every possibility, every risk, every outcome. They search for perfect certainty before taking action. But leadership rarely offers certainty. The future is unpredictable. Every major decision carries risk, and waiting for perfect conditions often means waiting forever. Strong leaders gather information. They seek advice. They evaluate the situation, and then they act. Fear of criticism also creates indecision. Some leaders worry too much about what others may think. They want everyone to agree, everyone to approve, everyone to be happy. But leadership is not a popularity contest. Sometimes the right decision will be unpopular. Sometimes criticism is unavoidable. A leader who fears criticism eventually becomes controlled by it. History gives us powerful examples of decisive leadership. During one of the most challenging periods in modern history, Winston Churchill became known for making difficult decisions under enormous pressure. The situation was uncertain. The risks were high. Yet he understood that leadership demanded action. Because when people need direction, hesitation creates uncertainty. Indecision affects entire teams. When leaders hesitate, projects stall, confidence fades, energy disappears. People become frustrated while waiting for direction. A team can only move as fast as its leadership, and when leadership becomes stuck, progress stops. This is why courage is essential. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite fear, to make the difficult call, to have the uncomfortable conversation, to take responsibility for the outcome. Leadership requires movement. Indecision creates paralysis. The best leaders are not those who never make mistakes. They are those who make thoughtful decisions, learn from the results, and continue moving forward. Because progress comes from action, growth comes from action, leadership comes from action, and leaders who move forward with courage inspire others to do the same. Habit number 5, blaming others. Weak leaders blame. Strong leaders take responsibility. One of the fastest ways to lose respect as a leader is to constantly shift responsibility onto other people. When things go wrong, weak leaders search for someone to blame. A team member, a colleague, the circumstances, anyone except themselves. But leadership begins with ownership, because leaders set the standard for accountability. One of the most damaging habits in leadership is making excuses. Excuses may protect your ego, but they never improve results. They hide problems instead of solving them. And over time, people lose confidence in leaders who always explain failure, but never accept responsibility for it. Blaming others also damages teamwork. When a leader constantly points fingers, trust begins to disappear. People stop focusing on solutions. They focus on protecting themselves. Communication breaks down, collaboration suffers, and the culture becomes toxic. Strong leaders understand that mistakes are part of growth. Projects fail, deadlines are missed, problems happen. But effective leaders respond differently. Instead of asking, "Whose fault is this?" they ask, "What can we learn? How can we improve? What should we do next?" Another dangerous habit is developing a victim mentality. Some leaders spend too much time focusing on unfair situations, bad luck, difficult people, difficult circumstances. While challenges are real, living as a victim removes personal power. Because if everything is someone else's fault, then nothing becomes your responsibility to change. Leadership requires ownership. It requires focusing on what you can control. Your attitude, your effort, your preparation, your response. Leadership expert John C. Maxwell has often taught that leaders must first lead themselves. And self-leadership begins with accountability. Before leading others, a leader must first take responsibility for their own choices. Accountability is not weakness. It is strength. It takes courage to admit mistakes. It takes maturity to accept responsibility. And it takes character to say, "I was wrong." Those 3 words often earn more respect than 100 excuses ever could. People trust leaders who take ownership. Leaders who accept responsibility create confidence. They create stability. They create trust. Accountability builds respect. Excuses destroy it. The greatest leaders are not those who never fail. They are those who take responsibility, learn from their mistakes, and continue moving forward. Because leadership is not about avoiding failure. It is about owning it, learning from it, and growing beyond it. And when leaders take responsibility for their actions, they inspire others to do the same. Habit number 6, neglecting people. Leadership is about people, not position. One of the greatest mistakes a leader can make is forgetting the very reason leadership exists: people. Teams do not succeed because of titles. Organizations do not grow because of authority. People achieve great things when they feel valued, supported, and appreciated. But some leaders become so focused on results that they forget about the people producing those results. They focus on numbers, deadlines, targets, performance, and slowly, people begin to feel invisible. One of the first signs of this habit is ignoring team members. Some leaders stop listening. They stop checking in. They stop asking questions. And they stop showing genuine interest in the people they lead. Over time, team members begin to feel disconnected because people want more than instructions. They want to know they matter. Another leadership mistake is a lack of empathy. Empathy is not weakness. It is understanding. It is recognizing that every person carries challenges, pressures, and responsibilities that may not always be visible. Strong leaders understand that leadership is not simply directing people. It is supporting people. When empathy disappears, trust often disappears with it. Neglecting people also appears when leaders fail to show appreciation. Some leaders notice mistakes immediately, but rarely acknowledge effort. They criticize quickly, but praise slowly, and eventually, people stop feeling motivated. Everyone wants to know their contribution matters. A simple word of encouragement can strengthen confidence. A simple expression of gratitude can inspire loyalty. People perform better when they feel appreciated. Another danger is treating people like tools rather than human beings. When leaders view people only as resources, productivity may increase temporarily, but commitment decreases. Trust decreases. Relationships weaken, and the culture suffers. People are not machines. They are individuals with hopes, goals, strengths, and struggles. The most effective leaders never forget this. Mother Teresa demonstrated servant leadership through compassion and care. She influenced millions of people not through authority or position, but through genuine concern for others. Her example reminds us that leadership is ultimately about serving people, not controlling them, not using them, serving them. People may forget your title, but they never forget how you treated them. Long after positions change, long after achievements fade, people remember kindness, respect, encouragement, and genuine care. The strongest leaders understand that success is built through relationships. They listen, they encourage, they appreciate, they invest in people. Because when people feel valued, they become more engaged, more committed, and more willing to give their best. Leadership is not measured by how many people work for you. It is measured by how many people grow because of you. And leaders who genuinely care about people often leave the greatest legacy of all. Habit number 7, stopping personal growth. Leaders who stop learning eventually stop leading. One of the greatest dangers in leadership is becoming comfortable. Success arrives, experience grows, confidence increases, and slowly, some leaders begin to believe they no longer need to learn. They stop reading, they stop studying, they stop seeking advice, and without realizing it, they stop growing. Growth is not optional for leaders. It is survival. The world is constantly changing. Technology changes. Industries change. People change. The challenges change. And leaders who refuse to grow eventually fall behind. One of the biggest enemies of leadership is the comfort zone. Comfort feels safe, familiar, predictable, but growth rarely happens there. Growth requires curiosity. Growth requires effort. Growth requires a willingness to learn something new. Some leaders become trapped by past success. They assume that what worked yesterday will automatically work tomorrow. But leadership is not about protecting old methods. It is about preparing for new challenges. Another warning sign is refusing new ideas. Some leaders reject change before understanding it. They dismiss innovation, ignore different perspectives, and become attached to outdated thinking. But effective leaders remain teachable. They stay open-minded. They remain willing to learn from others, because a leader who stops listening eventually stops learning. And a leader who stops learning eventually stops improving. The best leaders are lifelong students. They read books, attend seminars, develop new skills, seek mentors, and invest in their personal growth. They understand that leadership development never ends. There is always another lesson to learn, another skill to improve, another level to reach. One example is Elon Musk. He is known for constantly learning across multiple industries, including technology, engineering, and business. His success demonstrates the power of curiosity and continuous learning. Another danger is poor adaptability. When leaders refuse to adjust, they become rigid, and rigid leaders struggle when circumstances change. The strongest leaders learn, adapt, adjust, and move forward. Because leadership is not about knowing everything, it is about being willing to keep learning. The moment growth stops, stagnation begins. Opportunities are missed. Innovation slows. Progress fades. And influence begins to decline. The strongest leaders remain students for life. They stay curious. They stay humble. They stay teachable because they understand one simple truth. Growth is not optional for leaders. It is survival. The leaders who continue learning continue growing, and the leaders who continue growing continue leading. Leadership is not destroyed by one major mistake. It is destroyed by repeated habits. The good news is this: habits can change. Discipline can be developed. Communication can improve. Ego can be humbled. Courage can grow. Great leaders are not perfect people. They are people willing to improve daily. Eliminate the habits that weaken you. Build the habits that strengthen you. Because leadership is not about power. It is about impact. If this video challenged you, subscribe to Momentum Leadership for more leadership motivation, discipline, and personal growth content. Comment below, which habit do you believe destroys leadership the most?